Good morning, ladies. Thank you for joining me this morning. So, March Madness is amongst us. I'll be honest with you, it's not necessarily something that I follow closely. I do like to do a bracket. This year I didn't do one, but in the past that kind of made me engaged and paying a little bit of attention to it. But when it comes to picking the teams for that bracket, it was always challenging for me because very rarely was my alma mater in the top 64, although it's happened in the past. Um, I never thought for them to take it to another level or just a very small school. But so a lot of times for me, it was basing my decisions on luck. And I tried to pay attention to how the season went, who's number one. But as we know throughout the season, those number one seeds aren't necessarily the ones that win the March Madness. And sometimes that's the exact same thing that happens with stocks. So I'm going to come up. I've come up with 5 different topics that I want to address today about how March Madness is like picking stocks and building a portfolio. So the first thing that I want to address is don't worry about perfection. Position yourself strategically. So what the heck does that mean? Um, the odds of filling out like a perfect bracket and getting every single one of those teams right is very, very scarce. The odds of doing it are extremely high. And for those who can actually pull it off, you know what? They do deserve to win the big bucks. But it can be very daunting to try to do that. So successfully investing and focus on the things that you can actually control. When it comes to March Madness and picking a team to win, you really can't control that. So what you want to do is you want to take a look at how much you have to invest, what your goals are, and when you look at individual investments, what is the return on premium or return on investment that you're going to get from that investment? How large is it? What is the value that it projects? What is the profitability that you can expect from it? And what is the risk adjusted return that you're going to get? So that one's a little trickier. Risk adjusted return. So I'm sure you've heard the adage, the more risk you take, the higher the return. But also the more risk that you take, the more downturn that you can experience as well. So the other thing that you want to understand when you're positioning yourself is the cost of this investment. So many times if you're purchasing a stock, you're not necessarily paying any cost. There isn't any trading cost. There aren't any expense ratios associated with it. But if you're investing in things like mutual funds or exchange traded funds, most of those do have expense ratios associated with them because obviously the manager needs to get paid as well. Um, but you also have to be concerned about trading costs. So some mutual funds traditionally will have trading costs associated with them depending upon what brokerage firm you're using. When it comes to exchange traded funds, they're very similar to stocks from the standpoint of they don't always have trading expenses associated with them. But you need to understand what's involved there. My second lesson to pay attention to is don't let past performance dictate your future decisions. So I see this many times that people have an employer retirement plan. And so what they do is they take a look at the investment options they have to choose from, and they look at the performance that it's given you in the past. Just making your decision based upon that can actually put you in a pretty challenging situation. So what you want to make sure that you're doing is understanding kind of what's going on in the market right now, what's going on in the economy, and that type of investment, will it do well in the current environment that we're in? Um, Many times buying and holding for extended period of time can work extremely well. So you don't worry about the ups and downs and the market volatility. You don't worry about the cycles that we're going through with the economy. So sometimes if you come up with a very solid strategy, you can just buy and hold. So the other thing you want to take a look at if you are purchasing exchange traded funds that are actively managed or mutual funds that are actively managed, take a look at the history of the manager that's currently handling those investments. What is their track record? Maybe they've come from another firm. You can look back over how they've done. But many times when you're buying a mutual fund in particular, you are buying that manager's experience, and it's important to understand how they've done in the past, but taking into consideration what we have to face with right now. Oh, Sydney's going to join us here for a little bit. Okay. Sydney, say hi to the ladies. Okay. Can you say hi and let me finish up? Okay. All right. So lesson number 3 is the more you watch, the more drama you can expect. So just like March Madness and watching those games, there always will be, what do they call it, buzzer busters. You know, those that score in the very last minute of the game when the buzzer is going off. But when it comes to the market, if you're watching every day, that drama can actually drive you crazy. All right, so I've been in the industry for 33 years now. Me personally, on my portfolio, I've come up with a good strategy, and I don't look at how it performs every day. Quite honestly, I don't look every week, and sometimes I don't even look every month. What we've been experiencing the past couple of months with the volatility of the stock market can really cause you some pain in the pit of your stomach. So remember, if you come up with a good strategy, that's what you're most focused on. And even though the markets may be going up and down, you want to stick with it. The problem is sometimes when it comes to dealing with the volatility of the market, people think, oh, it's going down. I need to get out. I need to go to cash. The problem is that you're actually selling as it's going down. And, you know, I'm sure you've heard the adage too that you buy low and sell high. So that doesn't say sell low, buy high. So think about that. So try to be patient when we go through these market volatilities, and you can get through it. Now, actually, lesson four goes along with that, is leaving the emotions out of the decision-making process. So I have had a number of clients over the years who've come to me and they say, you know what? Everybody's talking about ABC company. I think I should be invested in it too. Let me give you a little tip. If everybody's talking about it, the opportunity may already have passed. If it's out there, if it's in the news, the growth opportunity may already be behind us. So sometimes when you get emotional and you're saying, well, all my friends are doing it, I should be part of it too. Actually, we've seen that with Bitcoin lately. You know, the people that got into Bitcoin early have made a lot of money. The people that are getting into it now have to deal with a lot of volatility that goes along with it. So just because your friends are doing it doesn't mean you should do it too. So try to make your decisions when it comes to investing based upon evidence based. So you want to take a look at what is the investment? What are the decisions that are being made about how it's invested right now and where it's going in the future? So quality decisions can be very valuable, and leave the emotions out of it. Lesson number 5 is keep in mind the importance of a great coach. Now, there may be a number of you out there that love to do research when it comes to investments. You love to break down where have they been, how have they been performing. You're able to take a look at all the ratios, the cash flow ratios, the debt to equity, everything that goes along with that. And I say kudos to you. That's great that that's something that you really enjoy. But if you don't, and some of those terminology that I just used, align yourself with a financial advisor, a money manager that it can help you make those decisions. Um, you know, there are a lot of brokerage firms right now that will give you the expertise of a advisor to make decisions. But one thing I want to caution you about is that if you're dealing with someone who is commission or fee based, and I want to clarify that fee based means that they can earn a commission and they also can take a fee. You want to understand how they are making their money. If they're making a recommendation to you, is it in your best interest? Now, traditionally, all advisors right now should be acting in clients' best interest. But I'll tell you what, it may, as a professional, you know, they may turn their head and say, well, I have an opportunity. I can make a commission off of this. as opposed to looking at another alternative that they don't necessarily make money off of. So align yourself with a good coach, someone who's on the same side of the table with you. So I know that's a lot of information, and right now I do see it being quite similar to trying to pick a perfect bracket with March Madness. The other thing I didn't mention is trying to time the market. I have seen over the years trying to be perfect and get in when it makes the most sense. It's really a challenge, and there isn't anyone who has perfected it. So remember, trying to time is an imperfection. But when the market is going down, if you've got the stomach to do it, it might be a perfect buying opportunity. So I hope you found some of this of interest. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call at 412-346-4655. Send me an email at diane@pearsonfinancialplanning.com or a direct message right here through Facebook. I appreciate that you've joined me. And if you know somebody else that you feel would find this information of value, please let me know. I'll be happy to send them an invitation or send them an invitation yourself to join our private group here. And as always, have a great day.